Hey everyone, this is the brand new channel intro video which I've put together to celebrate the momentous occasion of Zilog and Moto reaching 1,000 subscribers. Sounds crazy just to say that. I mean, when I started Zilog and Moto a little over 6 years ago, I knew that I was starting pretty late when it came to the retro scene, and that probably this was always going to be a small hobby channel. But now I can say that it's a small hobby channel with 1,000 friends, and that brings me an immense sense of joy and gratitude. If this is your first time at Zilog and Moto, welcome, and I know you probably have a few questions like, who am I, and what is a Zilog and or Moto, and what's this big wall of games on this bookshelf behind me? Who won the NBA MVP in 1971? And what's in that McDonald's Big Mac sauce anyway? Okay, well, maybe you only have some of those questions, but just in case you're curious, it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar back when he was still playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's just Thousand Island dressing. It's really not that special. But as far as those other questions go, well, my name is Dave, and I grew up playing video games of all kinds, but I specifically consider the Model 1 Sega Genesis to be the console that really meant the most to me as a kid. You know, fast forward about 30 years, and I never stopped playing video games, but two key things happened. First, I went to a Goodwill secondhand store that was right next to the gym that I went to at the time, and they happened to have two Master System games on the shelf. Now, if you're not from the United States, that might not seem very notable, but here, Master System games are pretty uncommon. And most of the time, if you see them, they're probably only going to be the same 10 or 15 games from 1986 or 87. So I immediately grabbed them, even though at the time I had no way to play them. No Master System, no power-based converter, no nothing. But then, about the same time, I found a copy of Retrogamer in my local Barnes & Noble, and with it being a European publication, I started to see all these cool games that I'd never seen or heard of before because they weren't released in the United States. I think I was specifically struck by a profile on Master of Darkness. Like, what on earth is this awesome-looking Castlevania type of game on a Sega platform? Would you believe I still haven't bought it? Yeah, oops. Anyway, between those two events, I really decided that what I wanted to do was collect all these games because I knew I could play them on a Genesis with a power-based converter. And even with all the Genesis games I got to play back in the day, there was clearly a lot of things that I missed out on, especially now with this European library that I never even saw. But then I thought, okay, well, I'm going to be collecting this mountain of plastic and paper and silicone. What the hell am I going to do with it? I needed to do something more than just have this collection. And then one day it kind of hit me. I was watching some other retro YouTube channels, and I realized, you know, some of these other people that have put channels together, the production level isn't exactly that high, especially when they were first starting out. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that their content was bad, but what I am saying is that these other people, they weren't hung up on whether the lights were perfect or whether the sound was just right. They were just creating videos because they wanted to create videos and share with the community. And the light bulb kind of went on, and I was like, okay, well, if they can do it, so can I. So on February 17th, 2019, I uploaded the first video of this channel. And I specify this channel because I did technically experiment with another channel before Zilog and Moto that had a slightly different focus, and thankfully all proof of that has been scrubbed from the internet. Trust me, it's better that way. Anyway, in the just over 6 years since then, a lot of things have happened. I've reviewed over 275 games for the Sega Master System, Genesis, and Mega Drive, Sega CD, and even a few 32X titles. I've used 2 different video cameras, 2 different capture cards, and 3 different scan converters. I've appeared in a crossover with another channel. I've been featured on 2 other channels, and I've even been on stage at one of the largest gaming conventions in the United States. It was the bonus stage, and there was only like 10 people in the audience because it was near the concessions, but still on stage. It's been a wild ride, and by my count, I've still got about 1,000 games to review for the channel, so I'm not going anywhere, and hopefully by the next time that I've got a reason to do one of these videos, I'll have even more great stuff to mention. Having said all that, I can't talk about the channel and not mention the people that helped me get here. First, I've got to mention St. Spacies, who added me to a panel on his show, even though I think at the time Zilog only had maybe 75 subscribers. And really, props to him, because he ended up actually getting a bigger guest after me, and rather than bump me, he changed the format from 4 to 5 guests. Then Genovi gave me a shout out and included me in a video with a bunch of other up-and-coming channels. And again, at the time, the channel was microscopic. I think I was still less than 150 subscribers at the time. After that, Stika gets some credit for getting the word out via his channel and got a huge boost from that. And then finally, of course, there's Dudley of Yesterzine fame, who took time out of his busy schedule of playing driving games and writing your mom jokes to help out with a mention in the back pages section of Yesterzine, not to mention other hijinks. So many thanks go to all of them, and especially thank you to everyone out there that's subscribed, watched, commented, and otherwise supported the channel over the last 6 years. I honestly don't know that if I'd still be doing the channel today otherwise, and even if I had somehow managed to keep going, it certainly wouldn't have been nearly as much fun without all of you. So here's to all of you, and let's enjoy the ride to the next 1,000.